Alright, welcome everyone to another Radio Free Cybertron review. As always, I'm your host Diecast, and this review is brought to you by The Chosen Prime. As you can see, today we have from KFC a nice little bucket. Has some, as for the packaging, got some people eating at a table. You got a tailgate KFC. You got binge watching KFC. Meetings, picnic and sports, and games. Uh, Along with some menu options down on the bottom. And oh, that was my dinner. Wrong KFC. Hold on one second. This is the right KFC. This is the KFC Keith's Fantasy Club, which was changed to Keith's Toy Club, but the name never got changed. They're still using KFC. Even their sticker says KFC. But as you know, first off, here's is the packaging. Very nice transistor on the side here. This is a flip open magnetic sealed window. Um, you can see a nice picture of transistor there. Nice picture of him in his alt mode. You have the see-through window. You can see his alternate head. The two little sound cones, sound dishes, his tape, the two guns, and the little gun for the tape. Then we come around to the side. You see Phase 4A, EAVI metal. On the back, you have some drawings of Transistor. Keith's Fantasy Club, which should by now be Keith's Toy Club, but I do not know why they keep delaying the name change. And the side of the box, on the top you just have the EAVI metal, and on the bottom you have warning choking hazard. Small parts not for children under 5 years because of small parts. Choking hazard. And then it's recommended for ages 15 and up. So that is the packaging. Let's get this guy open. Okay, I just wanted to go over what is in the packaging that you couldn't see real quick. First off, we have this KFC card. It is a credit card style, and as you can see, it's cut a little bit weird. I don't know if that is just the way mine's cut, or if that's the way they're supposed to be. You can still see everything on the back, but it is kind of crooked a little bit. So I don't know if that was just a mistake inside, when it got cut, because Hi-Fi actually comes with a card too, and his is fine. His card is right here. Also credit card style, and it says Hi-Fi, and some tech specs and stuff on the back. So you have a card for each transformer, and then you also have a bag with two heads that are exactly the same for Hi-Fi. And the paint on these heads is a lot better because you can actually see the blue for the eyes, the red face mask, and then the white around. But then there's no paint on the back of the head. So the problem with that is if you look at Hi-Fi, the way his head goes back into the cassette, there's all this detailing on the back of the head. So I really don't want to swap out the head, because then you lose all that paint that's supposed to be on the back. And I must say, Hi-Fi feels like a garage kit figure. The white paint is flaking off pretty much everywhere, and he feels very delicate and the paint is still sticky. So he he is, in my opinion, he is the normal KFC cassette that we got. Actually, a little bit more because I'm not used to paint flaking off and the figure just feeling sticky. And there's two little parts back here which are supposed to fold in, and I won't do it because the one I started folded in and it was starting to bend and break, and it's very, very thin plastic right there. So I'm just gonna leave them like that because it doesn't, you know, look that horrible. Um, Same thing with the feet. There's two little tabs here that flip in, and they're very small and very tough to flip in and out, and they do have a lot of detail paint on them. But those you kind of have to flip in to make the feet. I'm not worried as much about these as I am the tabs on the back, because those tabs definitely felt like they were going to break. Honestly, this cassette, I'm just going to leave it in cassette mode and in transistor, because this is just not it. I I wish you could see how sticky the paint is on this. It's just not what I would expect from KFC. Um, or I guess it is kind of a little bit what I would expect from KFC, but it's just not what I would think a mass produced figure would be like. The gold paint on the front, though, is really nice. I do like that. That does look excellent. But as far as just, buying this for the cassette, I would not recommend it. Um, and we'll get into his transformation a little bit later in the video. Next thing is this blue piece, which it's like a blue translucent piece. It came in this package with the extra heads and the instructions for Transistor. I have no idea what it is. Maybe someone will know, and you can just leave a comment down below to let me know what this piece is. But I have no idea. I checked both instruction booklets, and it doesn't look like it's mentioned anywhere. It's possible I could have missed it, but it just doesn't look like they mentioned it. And then finally, we have the instruction booklet for Transistor, which actually has a really nice comic inside. I didn't read the whole thing. I just kind of flipped through and look at the pictures, and uh, they have Soundwave and Cyclonus, and uh, actually looks like Transistor is in his that mold they keep repainting and everything. I can't think of the name. The Mugen mold, I guess that is. Um, oh, and it looks like he might have actually transformed from that Mugen mold to this new mold, um, which of course is G1 Blaster. And then you finally get to the instructions, and it's only 2 pages of instructions. They even telling you reverse steps 1 for 22 for transformation, and then steps 23 to 27 are optional. So these couple steps are all optional. So there's really not much transformation on here. And then again, you do have the tech specs on the back of the comic slash instructions. So, all right, now let's get to Transistor. And just so we can knock size out right off the bat, here you go with Soundwave next to Transistor, or not Blaster, and they match up really nice. Blaster is just a tad bit taller, or not Blaster as he should be. So I think scale wise, these guys are matching up great. Now I can tell you that Soundwave has a better feel to him when I pick him up, as opposed to Blaster. Transistor kind of has a hollowish feel to it. There's definitely a lot of panels on him, So let's go ahead and jump right into the transformation. First thing you have to do, and the first thing I did on this guy, is that there's a screw right on the inside of his arm right there. And what I did is loosened up the hand because it was definitely way tight. So come around here, untab blaster side panel, then this just comes around, take the hand out, we can move this panel up, just get it up out of the way for now, and then the hand, come back down. There's two more panels on this. First one you unclip, and this one flips back, and then that allows you access to the opening for the hand. Now the hand, the best way to do it is to move the thumb up like that, and then close the fingers up as far as you can, and then spin it so the fingers go in first, and the top part of his hand sits at the top of the opening. The reason you want to do that is if you turn it the other way, the thumb gets in the way, and if you turn it with the back of his hand going in first, it'll catch right there on that little lip. So this is the easiest way I've found to put the hand in and then be able to get it back out without breaking fingers or anything like that. Then you want to close that back up, and we'll just leave that panel straight out like that. You want to turn this arm and then bend it at a 90-degree angle, just like so. And then you can close this top panel and it'll peg in right to the top of the arm. Right there you'll see a little peg, or peg hole. So peg that in, and it just makes a L shape. Then you can come around here to the back, and this panel tabs in right there. Now I can say with this guy, I don't think his arm's quite adjusted right. The paint really does make me nervous on this. I only transformed it once, and there is spots where the paint's just coming off. And I look at my hands and I find little red paint specks on my fingers from Transistor. I really wish the gray plastic down here does not, give me that same feeling. I don't know if it's this shiny red paint that they used. It's just not sticking very well. And I almost wish they would have gave us a little bit of just plain red plastic. And there are bits on here that are plain red, like back here, also on the legs, where the little headphone, or the handle goes. That is a plain red. It's not painted. I almost wish they would have done that. Maybe just put a clear coat over it, because this red paint is definitely gonna flake off as I continue to transform it. So same thing on this side, we're gonna pop that off. Make sure the fist is in line. Now on this side, you can see where I already took some paint off. right there. Just trying to get my finger in here to pop this panel off. And the reason is, if you see the hole, it's not quite square. So because it's not quite square, it's really tight on a lot of the pegs, and a lot of the pegs are like that. They're just a little too tight. Um, Definitely can't complain about anything being loose on him, but then you just have that situation where sometimes things are just too tight. I forgot to flip the hand in. It's like on the other side, make sure the back of the hand is going in last. That way it's easy to flip out for you. Close that up. Line that up with the back panel. Clip that together. And there you have the top of Blaster pretty much transformed. You can, in the instructions, it actually says for you to come around here, slide these back panels down, and then angle them in. And then at this point, you can pull the arms back. They're on a sliding assembly, and they slide all the way back. And then these panels clip on these other panels right here. Try and do that. And also, if you wanted, just to show you this before we get all the way into the transformation, if you want to stick the guns in now, you can, because they are a little bit hard to get in once you have him fully transformed. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and just stick these guns in now, kind of get them out of the way. Don't think that'll hinder the waist articulation at all, because next thing you want to do is come down to the legs. On the legs, you're just gonna, again, more panels that wrap around. Just unclip those panels. Then you're gonna come to the back of the leg. You're gonna take this handle, pull that out, straighten that out. The foot, the little heel extension just flips in, and flip this handle piece out. And then you want this foot, and it takes a little bit of doing, to just come up past and flips on the back. And again, you just want to be careful, because this panel is so close to that foot. Then you can close that up for a second. Same thing on the other leg. Pull this up. I forgot to unpeg this panel. This is another spot on mine where the peg hole is probably a little bit smaller than it should be. Pull the handle out. Flip in the heel piece. Rotate that up, and then bring the foot up and down on the back of the leg. Just like so. And then before we get into everything else on his legs, we're going to come up to the hip here and just rotate his hip all the way around. And then, actually, before we do that, there's his little crotch piece kind of unclips, then rotate it around. then come up to the waist and unclip that, then separate the legs. Sometimes one leg will come out and the other one won't. You just kind of gotta finesse it a little bit to get those legs out, and that splits the legs. Then you want to rotate his legs so his feet that are on the back of the legs are facing up. Then these panels turn around and come up and wrap on the front of the leg. Same thing on the other side. Panel flips around. It's going to cover up this detail on the leg. And then it's just a matter of straightening out the leg. It pegs in on two sides on the back here, right up top, and then down at the bottom. And then down here at the bottom, the front of this panel also pegs in. And once you get it all tabbed together, it actually is pretty solid. And it is a really nice transformation. A little bit panel formery. Not much you can do about that, I guess, on what they were trying to accomplish with this guy. And then I did forget one tab, and that's the same one I forgot when I transformed out top. Right here, there's a peg that goes into the side, but you can actually do that last, and then just kind of squeeze it together. Kind of like you would squeeze a football right before you go to throw it. And then these panels on the legs, the speaker panels, they do flip around. And then this back panel right here comes down, pegs in to the back there. And then these, the parts of his guns that come off, they store right in here. Now this is kind of hard to get it in there, and then once you get it in, you're really not going to be able to get it out until you transform him back into robot mode. And then I did leave the head for last, and the reason I left the head for last is they made the top of this. There's two little nubs on each side. There's no way to pull this thing back to be able to get the head to flip back in. The only way I've been able to do it is actually by taking a screwdriver and getting in there and popping that up because of those two little nubs that you see. Now, they don't need to be there at all because this is so tight that it's not going to flop around if those nubs aren't there. So really what you could do if you want is take like a razor blade and see if you can just, take them off with the razor blade. I might try that, although I don't think I'm going to be transforming this guy a lot. You can't flip the horns in, so you want the horns all the way up. And then all you have to do is connect the top, the handle, just like so. And that's it. That's Transistor. As you can see, the guns are already in there from when we did that earlier, just because it would have been a little difficult to do it now. And then That's Transistor from the back. Again, you can see two panels here that are not painted. And I almost wish this whole toy was not painted, because if you look down at my work area, let me get everything out of the way. Focus. You can see the red paint from just transforming him that one time. All this paint was just flaking off. So he's probably not going to get transformed too much. He's going to sit on my shelf. He is really nice transformation and he looks really nice, but the paint just flaking off just really bothers me. Again, on the front, he has the little eject door that you can hit, which opens that, and you can stick the cassette inside. And we'll do his transformation in reverse. That way we can stick him in Blaster real quick, or Transistor. So you just come down to this little guy again. I did not fold in those panels just because I don't want to. He's still sticky. Just because I don't want to break it. Come around, flip his head back. The arms fold back up. Just like that. His hands sit inside. I would almost thought, because I know apparently the holdup on Transistor was this little guy, was Hi-Fi, and that's what took them so long to release Transistor. Otherwise, he would have been out earlier. And it doesn't seem like they spent extra time on him. And the legs just collapse in. And this foot should actually be already rotated up. As you can see, even this, there's white paint flakes coming off. So it's like KFC has been getting better. It doesn't seem that their tapes have gotten any better from Hi-Fi, but their other Transformers, their larger figures, have gotten better. And if the paint wasn't flaking off on him, he would be pretty close to perfect. He's so close to being tabbed in. There we go. Really nice paintwork on the cassette. Like I said, if you change the head with one of the heads they gave you, you will lose that detail on the head there. And then it does fit in. And then just like Soundwave, he can fit 3 tapes inside and then fire them out as needed. And I am going to put a nice Autobot symbol right on the center here. I've seen a lot of people do that and it looks really nice. And again, this blue piece, I have no idea what that's for. So if anyone does know, just put a comment, down below. That way I can figure out what that's for, because I have no clue. And Yeah, that's Transistor.